there's a swan from the great oceans of the north. And for the wintertime, it decides it wants to fly south for the winter, so it goes to Cancun, Mexico, and sits on the beach and has a couple Coronas. And so after the winter ends, it decides, okay, time to fly back home. So he lifts himself up in the air and he begins flying, but 2 days later his wings get tired, so he comes back down next to this pond, and next to that pond is a frog. And the frog very arrogantly asks him, he says, "Who are you and where are you from?" And the swan said, "Well, I'm a swan and I'm from the great oceans of the north." And the frog says, "Great oceans? How big are these oceans?" And he took a hop back and he said, "Are they this big?" And the swan says, "No, they're a lot bigger than that." And he takes 2 hops back. He says, "Are they this big?" He says, "No, they're still a lot bigger than that." And so he hops all the way around the pond and comes back to the swan and says, "Are they this big?" And the swan says, "No, dear friend, they're still much more vast than that." And the frog says very arrogantly, "Well, you're a liar and you're a fool." Because the frog knew nothing was bigger than his pond. So how many of you know frogs? People unwilling to change, people unwilling to grow, people unwilling to do things differently. Yeah? But not in here, right? We've got a bunch of swans in here, don't we? Give your neighbor a high five and say, "I'm a swan, baby."